This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to Live Talk with Dr. B. Hill. Today we're going to continue with our guest, Dr. Doug Smith. Now, if anyone has any questions or anything, we do have a chat in the upper right-hand corner. You can post your questions there. So take it away, Dr. B.
Thank you. And we have Dr. Smith with us today, Dr. Douglas Smith, who was the person who came up with this wonderful test to check the damage done by the opioids to your DNA. And I think that's a very, very important thing. And I thank you for working so hard, Dr. Smith, and coming up with that lab test because it is very much needed. And I'm going to leave the screen so you have more screen to show. I think you wanted to go over catecholamines. Is that correct?
Let's do that today, B. Let's start with the slide on our study. B, let me know when that slide's up on the screen and you can see it. And so that
Sure.
our listeners know, um, we did what's called an IRB approved clinical trial. IRB stands for Institutional Review Board. Anytime you're doing scientific work with humans, you have to present to an IRB, Institutional Review Board. They will review your protocol and either approve you or not approve you. And so we were an IRB approved clinical trial. Uh, and what we wanted to do was we really wanted to pick up where Dell had left off back in 1990. In 1990, Dell, Delle, had done some amazing work done with mice and showed that mice in opioid when mice went into opioid withdrawal, there was a huge surge in sympathetic nerve activity going to the adrenal gland and a simultaneous 20-fold surge in epinephrine in the mouse's bloodstream. Uh, but that's where the effort stopped. There was no effort undertaken to do a comparable study in humans. In fact, we were the first clinical trial to measure adrenaline levels in humans during opioid withdrawal. The layperson would know these levels as adrenaline levels. The medical person would know these as what are called the catecholamine levels. There are three of them: norepinephrine, epinephrine, and dopamine. And again, we were the first in the history of the world to ever um, draw blood during opioid withdrawal on human volunteers and measure these levels. What you're looking at here is the overall study. There is an enormous amount of information to be found in on this chart. This is a scientific study showing a whole bunch of information. In fact, we were just joined now by one of the volunteers for this study, Travis. Good day, Travis. How are you?
Good morning. Sorry, guys, I'm having a problem with my Wi-Fi. I don't know what was going on. I think I fixed it though.
Wi-Fi is is intermittent at best.
No, I never had a problem ever. I've had it for like 6 years, and I switched to this stuff called fiber. It's supposed to be a lot better. It's supposed to be faster. It's supposed to be. I mean, everything about it's supposed to be better. But I've had nothing but problems since we switched over. Nothing but problems.
Well, you're coming through loud and clear. So, Travis, let's introduce you to the people. Travis, you
All
were
right.
one of the volunteers for this clinical trial. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And Travis, what you did on this clinical trial was a very brave thing that you did. You went off all medication. You went off all opioids. And you came into the clinic on day 3. You were in very bad withdrawal, and you felt pretty bad when you came in. And then, Travis, we drew your blood, asked you a few questions, gave you a dose of buprenorphine, waited 2 hours, drew your blood again, asked you some more questions. Does that all sound about right?
Yes, sir.
All right, and Chrissy, if we could, let's jump up to the next slide. That's uh, this is the blood work on the volunteers, including Travis, who were in opioid withdrawal when this blood work was drawn. And Travis, just let me know when you can see that slide. And Travis, if I'm not mistaken, you are number 1400, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Travis?
No, I thought I was 700.
700. Thank you for the correction. Right, 700. And Travis, as you can see on the screen right there, uh, uh, the numbers in gray are abnormal. The numbers in the white are normal. Travis, as you look at number 700 there, you see that two of your numbers are abnormal, the epinephrine and the dopamine. Do you see that, Travis?
Yes, sir.
Now, Travis, you came in on day 3, so it raises the question: how long had your adrenaline levels been elevated? How long had your epinephrine and dopamine been elevated? How many hours had your body endured high levels of these adrenalines? And we don't know. This is the only study that's ever been done. Okay, we do know from the GUNNE, GUNNE, the GUNNE study done in 1963, that GUNNE found that after 2 days, mice, their adrenal glands would be depleted.
You're breaking up a little bit with me, Doug.
B, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir, I can. You've got a little bit of breakup and not too bad.
Okay, I'll maybe if I slow down, it'll be a little bit better.
That might
Okay.
help.
Okay, I've got a strong Wi-Fi signal and no storms in the area, so hopefully we should be okay. But again, Wi-Fi is always the so the question comes up, Travis, how long had your adrenaline levels been elevated? Had it always been the epinephrine and dopamine, or other people showed norepinephrine, dopamine, different combinations? Is it a consistent pattern for the entire duration of the withdrawal, or do people show different toxicities at different points in time? I will tell you this, Travis, we in the medical community, we don't really have a whole lot of research. In fact, let me rephrase that. There is no research on long-term exposure to these very powerful molecules, but we do know that these molecules, these compounds, adrenaline, we do know that they are associated with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And it raises the question of whether or not our people who have been DNA damaged by the opioids, it raises the question whether or not they're experiencing some aspect of PTSD due to the long-term exposure to these opioids, to these adrenalines. And one of the questions that we've raised in the past, Travis, and it's an amazing thing to talk about, is we know that avoidance is one of the powerful uh, uh, things that are associated with PTSD. It's a hallmark of PTSD. And Travis, you and I have spoken before about the role of avoidance and whether or not uh, people are doing things simply to avoid not going back into withdrawal. And Travis, you've made some statements along the lines of that you would do almost anything to not go back into withdrawal. Does that make clear there?
What were you saying? What you? I was doing almost anything to what, sir?
People would do about anything to not go back into withdrawal.
Yes, that's correct. You will do anything not to go into withdrawal. It's
And
not
that's
a matter of anything of will do anything. It's you're gonna do whatever it takes to not go into withdrawal. That's all you're gonna think about.
even when you're not in withdrawal, even when you have medication to keep you out of withdrawal, it's still a thought in your mind.
Yeah, you're already thinking about like when I do run out. Like, let's say hypothetically speaking, I had just got my prescription and I had, I don't know, let's say 90 pills. Let's just say that 90 pills in my prescription. Well, when I first get it, I'll be fine, but within a day, you know, considering that of how I abused mine, anyways, you're already going to be thinking, okay, what am I going to do when I run out of these? What do I need to do to either make more money or make sure that I have other opioids to take because these are going to get low in the next couple of days. So you're already contemplating in your mind, okay, what can I do to make sure that I have money to have what I need so I don't get sick? You're already thinking about that. It enters your mind with like instantly. It's instantaneous. I mean, it never goes away.
Travis,
As soon as you get the money for your I guess they call it a fix. I don't know what you would call it, but you know, back then they used to call it a fix. I don't know what I would call it now, but you know, once you get the money for that and you know you're not sick anymore, you automatically start thinking about your next move because you're like, okay, well, I don't want to be sick this time, so what do I need to do to get the money to buy this stuff so I'm not sick again? I mean, that's just how it works. And you're not thinking about getting high. You're thinking about not getting sick. That's what I'm trying to tell people, though. Like, I wasn't thinking, okay, well, I want to get high. I want to get high. No, that wasn't in my mind. It was, I don't want to be sick. So let me go ahead and figure out what I'm going to do so I'm not going to be sick.
Travis, if the bottle said take one 3 times a day and there were 90 in the bottles, that'd be a 30-day supply. Why do people take more at first?
You're going to start out taking it exactly like the bottle says. You're not going to start out just abusing it, you know, doing what you want. It doesn't work. It doesn't start off like that. Well, with me and with most people that I know that I've talked to, you're going to do exactly what the bottle says. But what happens is, I don't know if your body gains like a bigger tolerance, but that's what it felt like to me and to everyone else that I know. It seems like you get more tolerant to the level that you know you were prescribed, and before you know it, you have no choice but to take more so you don't get sick. It's not even it's
If you had stayed on 1 3 times a day, that wouldn't have been enough to keep you out of the sickness. So people are going to take whatever they need
no
to get out of the sickness.
no, it would not have been enough. After you had been on it for a while, that's not going to stop you from getting sick. I don't know exactly why that is. Well, now I do because you know I realized I was being poisoned and my DNA has been altered. But I mean, back then I had no idea why that was because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, I'm taking this exactly how the bottle has said. I wasn't abusing it, so why is this not working? Why am I still not feeling well? Well, you know, I don't understand what's going on here. And you
Travis,
know,
can I throw an idea at you?
yeah,
Okay, this is just our theory. We don't have any proof for this. Okay, you saw the DNA damage in your DNA, correct?
yes, sir, I did.
Right. In fact, we've got a moment. Let's pull up DNA slide number 1 and number 2. And Travis, while we switch slides here, and we apologize for hitting you with the slide out of the blue like that, but we're going to keep you on your toes today. Travis,
Hey,
you saw the damage to your DNA,
yes, I did.
and you saw that damage was specific to a gene called OPRM1. OP stands for opioid, R stands for receptor, M stands for mu.
Hmm.
That's the main opioid receptor. So, Travis, and they're on the screen. So everybody, Travis, that's the results of the DNA. And if I'm not mistaken, you were number 7031, and your methylation levels were 8% and 39.5%. Which, when you compare them to the top 5 or opioid naive people, you can see there is clearly a difference in your DNA and the DNA of people who are opioid naive, correct?
Yes.
So wouldn't it make sense that as you began to get some level of poisoning to your DNA, and as this gene, which makes this receptor, is now being poisoned by the methylation goes in and turns off part of the DNA that turns the process called gene silencing. Travis, would you expect some changes in the opioid
What
receptor? In other words,
what I expect?
some
What I
change.
expect? Some changes.
The receptor would be different because of the DNA damage, correct?
Yeah. Yes. Most certainly it would be.
Right. Some areas of the DNA got turned off. Some areas of that gene got turned off. Um, and it's possibly going to result in an abnormal opioid receptor. So, Travis, wouldn't it make sense that if the receptor was abnormal, that you would need a higher dose of opioid just to get the same effect?
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, to me, that's common sense the way you just explained that. So, I mean, and if you take a look at the graphs, I mean, take a look at the blood work, I mean, everything adds up. So that makes a lot more sense than someone just telling me I'm a drug addict and there's mentally something wrong with me when I knew there wasn't.
Travis, this whole concept of opioid tolerance has remained a mystery and without explanation to this day. But Travis, didn't we just come up with kind of a common sense explanation for what opioid tolerance could be?
Yes, sir, you did.
It all kind of ties together, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Now, is there anything in the theory of opioid addiction that can explain tolerance? Travis, I'll just tell you there's not.
I know there's not.
No, there's no science there. All right. We surprised Christy with the slide. So Christy, let's jump on now to the second catecholamine slide.
Let these dogs out real quick. Sorry, they're going crazy over here. They want me to let them outside. Give me 2 seconds.
I'm
Come on,
sorry,
let's go.
Doug, you're breaking up really bad.
Yeah, you were breaking up. That's why I couldn't hear you at all.
You're breaking up pretty bad.
What happens?
Even though you're going slow, you're in the same place that you were.
Yeah.
Wait, well, I don't know what's going on, and you're saying some good stuff, and
Yeah, I thought
anyway.
it was just me, but I couldn't understand what you were saying, sir.
I'm wondering if I can get off Wi-Fi and just go and switch to the phone call. We only have 12 minutes left. I don't think I have time to do that. But B, I think what happens here is trying to show my image, picture, video, and audio at the same time is just not going to be a possibility.
Got you.
I will most likely have to just drop the video feed and stay with the audio and go
It
from
was
there.
so good though. Last week it was so good. Your video and audio was perfect.
Yeah. Where were you at? You were there. You were at the same place?
Are you
Yeah.
using Wi-Fi that you didn't use last time?
No, everything is the same.
I don't know. We can go just a little bit longer today because of the interruptions we're having with the speech kind of stuff going on. It's crazy.
Let me turn my camera
I
off.
already told Miss B I have an appointment. I told Miss B.
Okay, I turned off my camera. So now all the Wi-Fi is going to the audio. Did that help at all?
Well, right now you've only said a few things, so I'll let you know as it goes along.
Okay, I'm going to leave the video off. I mean, quite frankly, who wants to see me sit in the truck in the library parking lot anyway?
I think people would pay attention more if they can see you. That's just my personal opinion, but you know.
I agree too.
Maybe we'll just put up my picture. So, right.
I have a good picture of you.
All right, so let's keep moving here. We only got a few minutes left. Now,
Okay.
Travis, what we did was Chrissy put up the second slide of the adrenalines, the catecholamines, and Travis, this
Right.
was you were one of these volunteers, and you're number 700 on that slide. And Travis, when
Hmm.
your was done the first time, while you were in withdrawal, you showed toxic levels of both epinephrine and dopamine, correct?
Yes, exactly right.
But then we gave you a single dose of buprenorphine, waited 2 hours, and repeated your blood work, correct?
Yes, sir, you did.
Travis, what happened to your epinephrine and dopamine on the second blood draw? It's right there on the screen in front of you.
They normalized. They're no longer abnormal. They normalize themselves.
Now, we noticed they didn't normalize for everybody. Okay, we're thankful that they normalized for you. Now, Travis, we're in uncharted territory here. This type science has never been done before. Nobody has ever looked at these types of results. Nobody's ever looked at adrenaline levels of people in withdrawal and then people given buprenorphine. But Travis, clearly the buprenorphine did something good, correct?
Yes, yes, it
Right,
did. For
right.
me, anyways. I mean, I can tell you right now, like when I went in there, I felt like I was dying, wanted to die, and as soon as I got my medicine, within 20 minutes, I started feeling back like my normal self again. So, I mean, that's just what happened to me.
All right. Now, the next group of people, the catecholamine slide number 3, Christy, the next group of people are people who are opioid dependent, but have been on buprenorphine for a while. And Travis, as you can see, their catecholamine, their adrenaline are even better. But there are still some abnormal adrenalines there. Okay. In fact, there's that one on epinephrine on the top there at 654. The upper normal being 62. You're looking at an epinephrine more than 10 times normal. Now, Travis, we cannot draw any conclusions from this. We do not know what this means. Um, uh, uh, one blood draw does not make science. Okay, but Travis, we clearly this is something that's going to have to be looked into a whole lot more so that we know whether or not our people are still in any danger from the adrenalines. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I mean, to me, it's possible that the opioid damages the adrenaline gland so much that you don't know if buprenorphine's going to fix it or not. I mean, that's what it's kind of sounding like to me. I mean, sounds like it damages the adrenaline gland. I mean,
According to the work by DELD from 1990, the problem wasn't in the gland itself. The problem was in the nerve going into the gland. And,
okay,
and that's what we believe is happening when our people go into opioid withdrawal. The nerves that are controlling organs go out of control.
okay. The nerves that are controlling organs, not the
Right.
organs themselves.
Right. The organs themselves, we believe, are still normal, but the nerves controlling the organs uh, uh, are out of control. And we believe that it's that abnormal opioid receptor that's created by the damaged DNA that allows that loss of control. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does make sense.
I mean, you saw you saw your DNA, Travis. Your DNA showed quite a bit of damage. We looked at
Yes,
where the damage was all up and down that gene. We saw a whole bunch of places where we believe that the DNA may have in fact been turned off. There, it's almost inconceivable that with that much DNA damage that spread out, it's almost inconceivable that you'd be able to make a normal opioid receptor.
yes, yes, it is.
Right. So the thinking is anywhere where you're going to find that opioid receptor, you're going to find malfunction because you got an abnormal opioid receptor. That opioid receptor is hundreds of millions of years old. That opioid receptor has been involved in the system that allows control of the organs. So it kind of just makes common sense that if you have an abnormal receptor, you're going to lose control over the organs. I mean, doesn't that kind of just make sense?
I didn't understand that last part, sir.
By the way, since I turned off my video feed and I only have an audio feed, did it help make this the words any clearer, or am I still breaking up?
A little bit, but you're still breaking up some.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're still breaking up for me as well, sir.
Okay. When we're done with this show today, Dr. B, let's try me coming back in through the telephone system, not the Wi-Fi system.
Okay.
Okay. But Travis, the question there was, if you have an abnormal opioid receptor, and if that abnormal opioid receptor was involved in the system that takes care of the organs, you very well may see some abnormalities in the organ function. Does that just make sense?
Okay. Okay.
So let's look at one more slide while we still have a couple of minutes left here. Chrissy, that would be the fourth catecholamine slide. And these are people who are just opioid naive. Okay. Now you do see a couple of elevated dopamine levels there. They were not statistically. So for the most part, people who are opioid naive, their adrenaline levels are overwhelmingly normal. Travis, you see that on the screen?
Yes.
So in this study, we compared the adrenaline levels of people who were in withdrawal against people who were opioid naive. We compared the adrenaline levels of people after one dose of buprenorphine against the normal levels of adrenalines, and then we looked at the adrenalines of people who were taking buprenorphine on a daily basis and for a while, and compared their adrenalines to people who
Excuse
had
me.
never
Sorry.
taken opioid. So, Dr. B, that's why don't we hold right there? Any questions or anything, Dr. B?
No, I do think though that our next show we need to go over that again because some of it was there and some of it wasn't.
Ah, what a shame. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well then, Dr. B, why don't we close up the show today, and let me call back in on the telephone network, and not involving the Wi-Fi at all.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, I'm
All
gonna hang
right,
up.
Chrissy's going to close for us.
Well, thank you very much
Hey,
for
Christy.
joining us today, Travis, Dr. Smith, and we will join you back tomorrow, every Monday through Thursday at 12:30. So see you tomorrow.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.